how much does domain age factor into your Google ranking? So
Very little these days. It used to be a bit more valuable back in the day, but a lot of what was standard operating procedure back in the day, like getting a domain name with your keyword phrase in it, right? Which we called exact match domains, EMD. Google has kind of adjusted for these things, right? So what I mean by that is, if you went out and got a keyword name called Tampa AC Repair, and people still do it, but you just try to get ranked for Tampa AC Repair without really putting together a well-known, a good, solid piece of content site with lots of information on it, you're going nowhere fast. Now, if you have a good keyword-rich domain name, and you do have a good piece of content, you built links and so on, then yeah, you got a much better shot. But age, the only thing that's good about age in regards to it's not, it's a minuscule factor, if at all, really these days. But the one thing that's good about age is that because you've been around for a little while, you have history. You got crawl history, you've got archive history, you probably have more links than somebody that's brand new. You've got more content than someone that's brand new. You've probably got more mentions around the web than someone that's brand new. So the simple age of a website does not mean squat. Okay. I have a website that I've had up since 2000. All right. Yeah, I'll give you a little look at it. It's search.engine-optimization.com. Pretty good keyword in the URL, right? Look at this page, right? I mean, look, did you know over 19 billion searches were performed in July of 2013? Been a little while since I've touched this page, right? It's been running consistently since 2000. Do you think anybody comes to this page? Do you think anybody's doing anything on this page? No. And I've got content. I mean, it's there. If I look at Google, do a site search here. The page has got, let's see, we've got about 23 pages in the index, in Google's index, right? But information is a bit outdated, hasn't changed in forever. There's been no new content that's been updated. And nowadays, just having a page that sits out there, it just doesn't cut it anymore. As I said before, you got to think of your website like a magazine or a newspaper. 10, 15 years ago, you could look at your web page as a book, and you could write a bestseller for 30 years ago, and if it's still selling today, you're still making money, right? I mean, think of Dark Side of the Moon from Pink Floyd. Still sells millions of copies a year, 30 years later. And it's still making money. They could have never put another album out, and they still would have made money on Dark Side of the Moon still, right? Nowadays on the web, if you stop publishing, if you stop working your site, you stop doing stuff, you're basically out of business. So it doesn't really matter how old your site is. If you're not doing anything with it, you're not going to get ranked. You're going to get anywhere. Now, that being said, if I were to take that website and completely revamp it, beef it up, put on a bunch of great new content, start regularly posting stuff, because I've got like Facebook pages for it and other things for it as well. It's been around for a long time, as I mentioned. I would probably have a better shot at ranking more quickly than a brand new website that was launched with the same exact kind of content. So they did the exact same thing that we did, but because I've been around for 20 years, 24 years, I would probably have a much better shot at getting ranked a little bit more quickly. But again, it's because I have all this other stuff out on the web, right? So here, let me go back here and let's see if I can find it here. Let's just try to do type in the name of the company. Yeah, look, there's the website showing up there, right? Shows up at the top. Facebook page. This is actually my first website ever. This has been going on since 1997. It's using Flash. This is I haven't touched this in I don't know how long. I don't use the brand anymore because people thought I would be like fixing computers and stuff.
that really did. It had a little flash thing at the top there.
It sure did. Yeah, it was kind of cool too. It actually looked pretty cool back in the day. But I mean, look at this. Look at the width. That was the width of things back then. It was this big. Like it was tiny. but I go back in and you notice here, my Steve Scott SEO is there because I mentioned the company back then. Here's a LinkedIn page. Here's some of the little logos that I had from back in the day on Facebook. Here's Jets fan. This is my Jets fan club website, and I have it just marketed by these guys, right? So in essence, and look, here's 10 best SEO agencies in California. Somehow I got on there. Yeah, so like there's all these things that are out on the web. So if I were to go ahead and create some real content on that page, freshen it, update it, add some really valuable stuff and keep adding to it regularly, because I have this sort of history on the web, it would probably get a lot better. It'd get ranked a little bit sooner and a little bit quicker than a brand spanking new site that's just launching. It would just be a little easier to kind of make it happen. So hopefully that makes sense for that. So it's like, yeah, there's this little minuscule little nothing about ranking factor, but it's more about the fact that the site's been around, it's been aged, it's been indexed, it's been mentioned other places, it's got links from other places. It's really that the age is a factor, not the fact that the content on the page or the fact that you're gonna get ranked because of it.
Well, now I know in the past that if you had a site that was there for a long time and then you gave it a nice big refresh and prettied it up and added a whole bunch of stuff, that because it had been around for a while, then that could definitely help. Is that still the case today?
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. If I took that Starship, the search engine optimization page, and like completely redid it from the ground up and all new fresh content, new look and feel, and then continue to start publishing stuff and maybe link to it from a couple other things and launch that as a new, a refresh or a rebrand or something, yeah, it would probably come back a lot quicker. In fact, that Starship computer one with the flash on it, that's been, like I said, running consistently since 1997. Hasn't been changed a lot, in a long while. But for a little while there, back in the day, back in 1999 or so, if you typed in online computer store, it was like CompUSA, like HP, and then it was Starship Computer. Like I was like right there. It's crazy. So again, that would not happen now. I don't have the kind of inbound links that others have for that page. I haven't really been using it, but yeah, if you took an old site, have the history that's there, and you do a really great, like a full refresh, and then publish and start to push out there, assuming that you've had it out for a while and you've done other things for a while, yeah. But let's say you just had a domain that's been sitting there for 20 years that you never used, and you just decide now I'm going to go put something on it. It's not going to start ranking overnight. It's just not, because Google's way more about intent, about brand, about just the user and the usability. So just having a website, and it doesn't really matter how old it is, it's got to have something substantial and some value. And there are new websites that do come in and they start doing everything right out of the box, and they build links and they get some press coverage, and they do other things, that they get their local listing going really well, and they get a good social presence, start pushing and start building their brand. Google's really more about branding right now. I mean, they're really more about you building brands, not keywords. What was the term I used? Context, not content, right? It's really more about that. It used to be content. If you didn't have the exact word on the page that someone searched for, you didn't rank. Okay, which is why people would make hundreds of pages, which is a variation of the keyword. Now, that don't mean squat. You can have a page that's got the keyword loaded on it, but if you don't have good context and it doesn't give the user information of what they want and what they need to help them make decisions or help them understand the topic as fully as possible, you're not going to get ranked because somebody else is doing that. So that's all gone. All those old school techniques from 10, 15, 20 plus years ago and more, they're gone, man. It's a totally different environment right now. It's much more difficult to get ranked in Google in any way, shape, and form. It's much more difficult because now Google is providing a lot more options without even going to your website, right? Now you've got Google Guaranteed for professionals, Google Screen for other folks at the top, and you have the paid ads below that, and you have the Google local ads below that, and you maybe have the people also ask questions that are on the page, and then you're also getting now the Google AI overviews at the very, very top, right? None of that leads anybody to a website, really. They're getting all the information right in the Google search results page. So that's why we did that the webinar the other day about, zero search, zero click searches. And I think that's in our membership as well. So those that are, are around, check it out. That's the next evolution of, search optimization. Let's not call it strictly SEO. But it's the idea of getting found, right? Is SEO to me. Some people say SEO, they think on-site, only what you do on-site. Now, to me, SEO is search engine optimization, right? It's optimizing so that you get found in search, whether it's at the top, in the middle somewhere, at the bottom, or if it's in the AI overviews, is how do we get you found? What do we do to get you found? How does links work? How do social media play a part of this? How does local play a part? How does, paid ads play a part? How does content development play a part? How does, link exchanges play a part? How does, sponsoring an event in your local neighborhood play a part? It all does. It all begins to build your brand, your name recognition. It begins to help Google understand that you are involved in your community, in your industry, in your area, geographically, whatever, and that you are worthwhile. That's that EEAT, right? Experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. That's everything to Google right now, right? So a brand new website has no experience or expertise. It has no authoritativeness and it has no trust. So it's not going to rank. It's really rare. It's like a newborn baby, right? You heard me say this a million times. A newborn baby knows how to eat, poop, and sleep. That's it, right? They don't have to do anything. You have to be taught everything. And it's going to be quite a few years before they're out on their own, doing their own thing, making decisions, whatnot, where you're even comfortable in having. And that is a matter of time, trust, expertise, experience, right? Experience takes time in anything that you do. And Google has gotten much, much, much better at weeding out the tricks and realizing that you need to build a brand, to build your experience, build your trust, authoritativeness. Most of that comes with other people knowing about you, linking to you, referring to you, that kind of thing. So it's a way, way more difficult time in search than ever before. There's a lot more that needs to be done and done right. There's more technical issues that need to be dealt with and dealt right. But if you don't do any of these things or do very little of them, it's going to be nearly impossible to get found. So is age a factor? Like a little tiny little factor, like teeny, 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 tiny. But it would be nothing I would focus on. Zero. I wouldn't give it any real effort. I wouldn't go out. In fact, Google has recently, one of their core updates, they've gotten rid of the idea. Like if you are buying an old domain, like an expired domain, if somebody, their credit card expired and they forgot they lost their domain because they were just too stupid to realize that they did this. People were buying up these old domains and then like putting other stuff on and using the link and the power of it that was getting links from other people to build their brand and push people to their website. That's going away now. Google's gotten wise to this idea of people taking over brands that were established and kind of using them maybe for different format, just using the domain name. So now it's not about the age of the domain. And Google's kind of, again, saying, well, no, that's not what the intent is. It's okay to grab an old or expired domain and reuse it for your purposes. But, those need to be altruistic, building a brand, building a website, using the name for, for good, not evil, basically, right? So, so that's kind of where that comes from.